the last thing that my stalker has set me up for. So in the last video, if you look, she called animal control saying that she heard yelping at my house and was afraid I was abusing my dog, who is the most spoiled dog ever. If anyone knows me or has followed his channel, this dog has his own basket in my passenger seat so he can see out the window, and he has his own closet. He is seriously the most spoiled dog I think that anybody's ever met in this city. But anyway, the backstory is on my Facebook account. I have a Dropbox link in one of the posts to all of the evidence, which I can also post here as well. And it won't activate as a tappable link until 24 hours. It said it had to verify me as a person. I had to verify my face back and forth to make sure I was a real person. And it has to verify me for 24 hours before it'll make that a tappable link. But if you go to my page at Dottie Gievers, there's two, so it's Dottie Gievers Popovich or Popovich Gievers. It'll have the whole situation on there with the Dropbox link to all of the screenshots and the files of everything that has happened. And I organized it for you so you don't have to like wonder where everything is, into folders. And I even put like a summary post and then like her threat to ruin my life. So all of these things that have been happening, I assume are from her because it literally happened right after I had her GoFundMe shut down. And I had the GoFundMe shut down because she had already borrowed $2,300 from me. She had, and I paid the dentist directly, so I know it was paid off. And she may or may not have had additional procedures, but it was a little iffy that she said that the other procedure was going to be on the 21st on her Facebook, which I screenshotted in the Dropbox, and claimed to have it on the 16th. So that was before the date of the scheduled procedure. And the day of, I actually called the dentist office as her financier and said, I'd like to pay the outstanding balance of her new procedure. And they told me there wasn't one, and there was no outstanding balance. And on her GoFundMe page, I looked a little deeper, and a couple days prior, she had stated that she had a donator that donated $5,000. So, and then, I'm sorry, her GoFundMe account was also collecting money, and it had been up to $715, I believe. So she had $715 plus my $2,300 plus this $5,000, and she was going to continue to keep the account up to pay her friend back. And meanwhile, she had stopped paying me, and I had asked the person the person who asked me for the loan, who was her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend, had asked me for the loan in the first place. He was the one that said he would cover the loan if she wasn't paying. Now she did miss 2 payments. He paid those 2 payments. But then he and she both stopped paying altogether. And they refused to pay. And it was all because they said that I had harassed them on Venmo's chat system, which I also screenshotted and put in those folders. It had later come to my knowledge from him that he told me that the reason she stopped paying was because I made a comment on one of his payments to her on Venmo, commenting on their relationship. And I did. I had no idea it was going to go to her. I thought it was just to him, and I said, this was your downfall, because he had lent her $1,000 to go on a trip, and she had gone through it in 24 hours. He couldn't figure out where the money had gone and why he was always having to pay her bills. He wanted to break up. It was a big thing. And I had just written to him that as a friend. Had nothing to do with her, or it was not directed to her. I didn't even know she was going to get that. And regardless, this is not how loans work. If you loan someone money and you have a payment arrangement and they pay you, they pay you on the schedule, and she wasn't doing it. She just flat out refused to pay me anymore. And since then, I posted everything on Facebook because I didn't want anybody else to get scammed on this GoFundMe account. I reported it to GoFundMe. They shut it down. Then she told everybody on Facebook she took it down. And now it's escalated into her. Oh, wait, she wrote me a text message that said she was going to ruin my life for lying about them. And this was not a lie. These were legit facts. They're all screenshotted. They're all organized in little folders. I didn't make any of this up. This is in no way slander. These are all absolute facts, and I didn't want anybody else to get ripped off. And to let you know, one of her friends did pay my loan back, so that is no longer an issue. I have the money. It's okay. I withdrew. I took the link off to her Facebook scam after GoFundMe removed her account. So I thought everything was done and over with. But since then, I have been getting calls for vehicle test drives, for loans, for business phone numbers, just random things, which is what made me want to set up the YouTube channel of this. Hey, things that my stalker sets me up with, because I found it hilarious. And I wanted to let her know that it was not bothering me. So I set up this channel, and literally as I was typing in the description of my channel, animal control walks in my yard and tells me that she's there to investigate me for abuse of Dinky. So I made that the very first video, and I posted it, and so here we are. And unfortunately, she has called the police for slander. This guy named Bert told me he was calling me from the police department, and he's investigating a slander case. And I didn't get the message. And then when I finally called him back, the policeman, the dispatch person, said that he would have to have him call me back. So he finally calls me back and was asking me my side of the story, and I told him, and I was really hoping that phone call had recorded, because I started recording my calls when this started happening. So I went back, and unfortunately the police, the law enforcement in general, has a call blocker. So they call you from a private number, and then they block the calls. So I unfortunately can't give you that phone call audio, which is disappointing. However, they did say that if I was not going to take the posts down, that he would forward it to a detective. And I said, great, that sounds great, let's do that. So the detective can now go through all of these files, which I offered him. I asked if he had an email so I could send him all of the Dropbox linked files. He said he was not interested in that, but I'm hoping that the detective is, so that she can read this, because at this point, I was having fun with her harassment, but now it's escalated to the point of having to file formal charges. So stay tuned, and I'm really hoping that the detective comes to me in person so I can get that recording on here.